Hello, my name is Antonio, and this is the commentary for Cooking with Brennen Serial, otherwise known as the Season 2 premiere of Cooking with Brennen. I always knew I wanted to do a season 2 for Cooking with Brennen. We ended off the series, the first season of Cooking with Brennen. We ended it off in 2019 with Cooking with Brennen Eggs. And then we kind of put it on the back burner for a while. Brennan was still in videos on my channel, but we just didn't make any more Cooking with Brennans for that year. Even like when we ended, like even as we were getting to the end of season 1, I knew I wanted to do another season. I just felt like there were so many more episodes that had potential to be made for this series. This is one of my favorite series to make, or it was one of my favorite series to make. So I just knew I wanted to make more, and Brendan said he was on board. We put it on the back burner, but we were always planning on doing a second season. And as early as like early 2020 is when I was starting to like really plan out what I wanted to do for the second season. I knew I wanted to make it a little bit more story driven than the first season. I still wanted to have kind of classic standard episodes, but I wanted to do I wanted there to be more of a build up with more story and more consistent characters and consistent themes across each episode. So I was starting to plan that out, and originally we were going to film this episode, or at least I intended on us filming this episode in March of 2020, during spring break of that year, or what would have been spring break of that year. I was talking to Brennan about it, and I was just like, hey, you want to come over and film the first episode of season 2 during spring break? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And then a little thing called COVID-19 happened, and then we were not able to do that. We couldn't film in person. It was just like at the end of the day, we didn't feel comfortable filming in person. So we had to put Cooking with Brennan season 2 on the back burner even more so. And we had to wait even longer to make it, or to start making it. But I was kind of okay with that because that kind of just let me sit on what I wanted to do with it more and kind of plan things out a little bit better. So throughout 2020, we obviously didn't really get together to film in person at all. And we just kind of let Cooking with Brennan kind of sit and just not really do much about it during that year. But, around the middle of 2021, during the summer, the beginning of summer, things were starting to get a little bit more comfortable, in terms of hanging out and seeing people in person. So I was, I started talking to Brennan. I was just like, hey, maybe we can start doing season 2 of Cooking with Brennan now. And he was just like, yeah, let's do it. So during the summer is when we started filming for this season. I had a really good plan of what I wanted to do. And I knew I wanted to start off the season with Cooking with Brennan cereal. And, the reason for that is just because cereal or the Raisin Bra box is an iconic part of Cooking with Brennan's identity. It was in the intro for the series, in every episode, ever since the very first one. And it was just kind of a little joke that we came up with when we were filming the first episode. But then I was just like, let's make it let's make an official episode around it for the beginning of the second season. And I think thematically it felt really good to do that. And I knew I wanted to make the first episode of the season kind of more of a classic style episode. Obviously there's a lot of very elaborate episodes in season 2, and I'm really glad about that because I think it's really fun to do the more elaborate episodes. But I knew I wanted to start off, with kind of a more simple, kind of more laid back episode, a more grounded episode. And I think this one is really good for that. And I don't think it came out it's not boring. It's not mundane or anything. It's just a very simple, a simple episode, just a very standard episode of Cooking with Brennan. And I like it for that. Originally, the idea I had for this episode was a lot different than the actual direction that it ended up taking. Originally, I wanted this episode to have a car chase, and it really, I remember just around the time that I was starting to want to do Cooking with Brennan season 2, I just wanted to make some sort of video with a car chase. I don't know why. I don't know what inspired me to want to do that. I was just I want to do a video with a car chase, and I was just let's throw it into the first episode of season 2 of Cooking with Brennan. And I think that the way that I would have integrated it into the video would have been like, I would have had the Raisin Bra box become sentient, and then it would have just like tried to run away from Brennen, and then he would have to chase the box in a car chase. And that was like the idea that I had, and I really wanted to do it. I remember like I didn't have a car at the time, but I was talking to my friend Donovan about potentially using his car in the video. We weren't actually going to do like a full-on car chase because that would have been really elaborate and probably not the safest thing to film, but I wanted to make it look like we were doing like an actual car chase. I just thought that sounded too fun. But we didn't end up doing that, and I'm kind of glad that we didn't, because like I said, I wanted this episode, or like I ended up wanting this episode to be a little bit more simple and grounded. And it ended up being that, and I think it's good. I think it's a really good like introductory episode to the season. And then as things go on, as you watch more and more, as you get further into the season, things get more and more elaborate and more intense. And I think it's good. I think it's a nice little build up, and it starts off on a very low key note, and I'm glad for that. And this was still a really fun episode to do. But other than that, yeah, that's going to conclude this commentary. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.